Well, good morning. I'm John Nardolillo. I'm the orchestra director here at the University of Kentucky. And today we're talking with Rui Li, who is an alum of the School of Music, a trumpet player and a conductor who now has a fantastic career with the National Symphony in China. Rui, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Rui Li, and currently I play with the National Center for the Performing Arts Center Orchestra, and also play with the quintet. Also, about a year and a half ago, I was also appointed the lecturer of NCPA, which means I give lectures to audience at the NCPA about arts, life, and music. I went to University of Kentucky School of Music 2009, 2014, the fall, I went the audition of the NCPA orchestra and started my musical life in Beijing.
So, Rui, tell us a little bit about how you came to the University of Kentucky and your experience there. You originally came as a performing major on trumpet.
Actually, UK has a really good reputation, especially in the trumpet world. And when I joined UK, just the students, we have Julian Kaplan as the principal of the orchestra, and later Chase Hawkins as principal trumpet. It seems like everyone in the trumpet studio, they win competitions and they win jobs. I joined the UK Symphony Orchestra, I think, as the second trumpet, the first season, and that's the time it feels like everyone here is so serious about what they do. I remember the orchestra rehearsal was in the afternoon. Always, there are people arrive at least half an hour ahead of time, warming up and do the sound test, playing in the big orchestra, just like treated as a job. And of course, you are so demanding. I mean, in many ways, it's really important that, now I have this job. I give performance every week, play with big conductors, playing some really big repertoires, and including world premiere of some great works. Like my job today is just like my days at UK playing in the symphony orchestra, because we have a really nice group of young musicians, and everyone really treated not just like a course. You have to have a taste of what it feels like. For example, that we do have at UK, we do have a season, so you know what you will be playing, and we play for a real audience, and the audience really enjoy the concert and they love the orchestra. And we have a great music director. It's like everything is there, and then if you don't practice well, if you don't do your homework, and then in the first rehearsal, you have a really bad time. Since we even sell tickets for our performances. So it's like when you're sitting in the chair playing your trumpet, you know that it's a job. Someone paid money and spend part of their life that evening there to hear you. So you really do have to get things ready. And they don't really care about how you are feeling, I mean, mentally, or how your chops feel. And you do have to give. I still remember one of the trumpet section rehearsals. Julian Kaplan said, we have to play like we are in the big five. This is the way we really bring the sound, and you have to pretend you are already there. And I still remember that. So now, like for me, every single time I prepare for the next concert, the first rehearsal, I will listen to the recording and check the score, the full score, and see what the style is like and what the trumpets sound differently from the big orchestras, and what I can do and what mouthpiece I use, what horn I use, how I can communicate with my colleagues even before the first rehearsal, talking about equipments and talking about what kind of sound we want. And then the first rehearsal, we are fully prepared in terms of adjust the color or smaller things. You have to put yourself into that process playing through several seasons, and then when it's your real job, what do you do? So, I think every professional career start while the students were still in school. A really good music program, you need great studio teachers, and you need a group of people that have the high energy, and they wanted to make things happen. They wanted to share music, and they wanted to practice together and wanted to collaborate. And then you need someone who can really lead you. John, you conduct so many great orchestras, the big professional orchestra, and you always invite the top level soloist to UK. So when they're like Isaac Perlman was sitting there playing the concertos with us, it means too much to a student. So even it's been years, I still remember those moments. People always say that UK Symphony Orchestra doesn't sound like a student orchestra because we function like a professional orchestras. I think that's the one of the biggest reason, because the last year, 2020, was so special because of the COVID-19, and also because of that, I think we became the most busy orchestra in the world. We even did several opera productions, working almost every day and challenging music for. Firstly, we play we just stream concerts, and then we play for real audience. Really busy schedule, but I know what to do. Like my routine, like I'm still trying to warm down with my little wooden mouthpiece, so keep everything in shape. So I really appreciate what you have done for us. For a student to have a career, a successful career, they have to know what it tastes like while they are still a student. Being a student, for me, I think it's safe. You can miss a note and trying to get what you want musically. It might not happen every time. It's safe to risk. And then when it's the real game, you're sitting there, you have the confidence. Sitting in the orchestra, student orchestra, for several seasons. This is what really benefited me. And I still remember, every single time if I play a piece that we played before, I really feel honored. Is something in there. It's not like I know the music. It seems like I can still smell what's there in that concert hall. Trying to taste that cup of coffee. Hear your voice, and it's really magic.
That's great, Ray. I love hearing you talk about this. You've said so much about about your experience and about preparing. One of the challenges for the UK orchestra is that some of the students have already done undergraduate at the conservatory, and they really are playing like professional players already. And then for some other students, it's the first time they've ever played in a full orchestra or a good orchestra. And so we have to bring all those students onto the stage at the same time and create one artistic activity. One of the things that I think we're trying to do is to have a feeling of professionalism, meaning a seriousness about the art form, about the music. We're committed to the music making, and we're committed to the art form, and we're committed to the other musicians in the orchestra and to the members of our audience. And we know how important it is to everyone involved. And so we're taking that seriously. And at the same time, we're trying to create an environment that's collaborative and empathetic, where people are listening to each other, not just in terms of, is it in tune or are these the right notes, but what is the emotional meaning of what's happening on the stage, and are we communicating with each other? So, one of the challenges in orchestral playing is that if the players are too nervous about making mistakes in their playing, then they cannot be open emotionally in a way that's meaningful to the other players and to the audience. And so we have to be very serious about playing well, and at the same time be comfortable and relaxed enough to be free to be expressive when there are 1,000 people watching us,
Right. Right.
So, one of the things you always say to the orchestra is that the audience is not coming to see whether you're going to make mistakes or not. They're coming for a communion of the human spirit with other people for the emotional experience of experiencing the music together. And
I always remember what you told us about making the music and the passion in rehearsal and in on stage. I remember you shared with us that there got to be one audience at least. It will be his or her first time to listen to this music, no matter it's Beethoven 5 or Mahler 5 or whatever music. There's also probably some people, it's their very last time to listen to this repertoire. And they spend time with us and we're sharing part of each other's life together. For me, sometimes working at the NCPA is so busy because, on top of that, I also have a private studio of up to like 30 students. A lot of times I mentally and physically feel really tired, but that always remind me that same music, the same old music might means different things for different people, and they will bring energy to them, and we're sharing more than just sound.
Yeah, I think we know how much the music means to us personally. And
Right.
I think we know, when we're on stage with the other musicians, we realize it means a lot to them too. That's why we're all sitting here. I think sometimes it's harder to realize how important what we're doing is to our audience and how meaningful it is to them. Your career at NCPA, and, for people listening, NCPA is the National Center for the Performing Arts in China. It's the leading concert hall in China in Beijing. It's a absolutely stunning, beautiful round glass concert hall. Amazing place. One of the highlights of the orchestra's time. The orchestra is just a little over 100 years old, the UK Symphony, and I think a highlight of our 100 years was a tour we took to China, which you helped us organize, and then of course played as a soloist with the orchestra, not just as a principal trumpet, but also played concertos and played Ives with us. And
it was a really great honor. Now, I played I worked there for 6 years, and then every morning I walk through that water hall and see sunlight. I was like, it was 2013 in May that we played there. We walked through that hall. I was thinking, if one day I can play here again, it would be so wonderful. And now I work there every day. I still have the picture that after our concert we took together.
Who's in the picture?
You and me.
Okay. Ray is describing the lobby to the concert hall, which is right. So that the concert hall building, if you're outside, it has the appearance of being out in the middle of a lake. There's a sort of a lake around it. And so to get into it, you go down these stairs and you walk underneath the lake, and the ceiling of the lobby is made of glass, and you're underneath the water. It's a beautiful, and then you walk through that to get into the concert hall. We played a concert for Central China Television in that concert hall. And what was interesting was the concert broadcast was on a Sunday morning, which you would normally not think of as a very good time to have a concert in terms of the audience, but it was a full audience. Audience of people, even on Sunday morning. But it was a great trip for us, and it was amazing to see. China has built many beautiful new concert halls in large cities that are spectacular and sound great. That was something very interesting to see, because if you go to Europe, you can see the historic halls, old halls. And of course, the United States has beautiful historic halls too, like Carnegie Hall or Symphony Hall in Boston. But it was great to see those brand new halls in China. So what could you, going back to your time at UK, tell prospective UK students or students who are there, what would you tell them that you wished you had known when you had come? Or what was the thing you learned that was most helpful?
So now I play with NCPA Orchestra and NCPA Brass Quintet every single day. After playing here for a while, and then I realized that as a professional orchestral player, and also we do play a lot of operas. So I really know there are things that are so important for us to just keep the job. So if I would list several things, I would say go to a school that, first of all, you need a really, really nice studio, not just a great studio teacher, but also the studio as a group that everyone contribute a little bit to the studio there. And you have to, firstly, you have to be really honest with yourself just as a player, because we want to, first of all, before you can play the lick in your excerpt book on stage for your audience, the first thing you have to figure out is how to play your instrument in a healthy way, which means that you don't just play that lick. You have to play fast enough, high enough, loud enough, soft enough, different styles, different vibratos, intonation, and chord. And you have to be really, really flexible with your instruments. You know what sound you can produce. And when the conductor or your colleagues ask for a sound, you have it. So first of all, go to a school with a really nice studio that they can help you to do this. But you have to be honest with yourself. Like for me, I came to UK as a doctoral student, but during that time, I feel like, okay, there are many undergrad students place better than me. So for a time that I wanted to hide what I couldn't do, and turned it out that was so dumb. You know, you have to be really honest with yourself, because one day when you hold your trumpet there, play the call, and physically you won't, let that happen. It's just not.
Eventually, you can't hide, right?
Right.
You're on stage at some point.
Right.
Either you learn how to do it or you don't, right?
Right. Secondly, so important that you have to go to a place that student lessons. You're like, let's start from your warm up, your warm up, and your studio lesson and ensemble training every day. You have a couple of hours with your instrument. I mean, really work with that. Play with yourself, play with your colleagues, and play in large ensembles. You need that time, in different styles, even like jazz, because there are many repertoire that the composer use jazz elements. So you do have to play through one or two seasons in the jazz band to get basically what the swing really feels like.
Especially, I have a question for you, Ray. You said earlier you were talking about when you were at UK, and you were there at a time when there were some real stars in the studio. You mentioned Julian Kaplan, who's now principal of Kansas City Symphony. And you said you came as a doctoral student, but there were undergrads that you thought were playing better than you. And at first you wanted to hide, and then you had to conquer that, which you did, because by the time you left here, you won one of the big, trumpet playing jobs anywhere in the world. So what I'm curious about is, what did you do to break through that? How did you conquer that difficulty? How did you solve that problem?
Okay, so first, I don't know if you still remember, but we were recording the Copland, the Rodil. I had some hard time because I think I was trying to.
It's a hard part, for one thing.
Yeah, right. So even in the recording session, I had some intonation problem, but actually it's not that I was out of tune, but I was out of tone because I was using too much muscles trying to bring the pitch down, a lot of tensions in my face and in my throat. And so it's like I can have a sound, but it's not a ideal sound. So what you ask me to do to play the same pitch with him, and then gradually play the scale down.
Right.
Firstly, I mean, after that recording session, I was like, no, I don't really like this. I don't like it. I was really having some hard time because the part itself looks not that hard on the page. We play much harder and etudes than that, but something just didn't work. And until later, I was like, okay, so what John told me to do, resolve that problem. So if I use that as a starting point, I can fix many things here and mentally here. And I have my approach.
One of the things about being in an orchestra like this at UK is that you're in the orchestra for the whole course of your degree. So it's not like one class that you take and then you leave and you don't see again. So you come in,
right,
and you're there, every week for the whole 3 or 4 years of your degree. Your colleagues are also there with you. And so it's a way to develop a very deep connection with those other players, and with the organization that can stay with you long after you're gone. Even if you've been out of school for years, you can still feel very strongly connected to an orchestra like that you've been part of.
Because really playing professionally in an orchestra and in the orchestra with a busy schedule is really challenging.
Yeah.
It's really, really challenging. The music we play very often is so demanding, not like the traditional excerpts.
Yeah.
It's beyond that. And like the rehearsal today, the composer was sitting down there, and we do play high, loud, fast, low, soft, in one concert with choir. It's called a Beijing choir. It has 17 tunes in it, but every single one is really, really demanding. During difficult times, I always remind myself to my UK time, is something so special that it's like the feeling of home. Because I always tell people and tell my students, to win any audition, the process started long before that. It starts the day you're playing with the student orchestra. You told me one time that as a judge, people will know whether or not you played the excerpt in concert or not.
Right.
There are things that even, I think I played like 30 or up to 35 concerts at UK totally, right? Maybe including the big tour. Every single time I learn things. For important experience, I don't really write anything down. I think about them so often that I remember almost the details. Yeah. And the mistakes I made are so valuable now, like switching mouthpieces, or using what kind of milk, or eat what kind of food before the concert, right. Or what I did, or what I did that. But so now, playing in the egg every day, still not easy. I always have the good memories and the great experience at UK that give me the idea what I should do. Always cheer me up.
That's great, Ray. I love hearing about your experience, and you've had an incredible success in your career since leaving UK, and we're proud to have called you one of our own. So thank you for making time to talk to us today. It's wonderful to talk to you and hear your voice.
Yeah, it's a great honor.
Thank you so much, Ray.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk to you soon.